Okay, here is your ring, and whichever way you look at it from the side, whichever side you look at it from, plain bands is all you're going to see. But I've modified this one by, because the marks are on the inside, out of sight. What I've done just for this demonstration is to drill those marks all the way through, which means we can then see them on the outside. And the reason I've done that is to make it obvious the order, the pattern that those numbered bands make. And you can see that band 1 is opposite band 4, 2 is opposite 5, 3 is opposite 6, which makes 1 and 4 a pair. And to illustrate what I mean by that, if I've got band 4 in one hand, then the one that's hanging down the bottom here is going to be band 1. Now, as I said, you won't see the marks on the outside. Well, you're going to have to, look on the inside. Now, so 1 and 4 is a pair, 3 and 6 are a pair, etc. And this is a good place to start, because when you're going to assemble the ring, you need to start with band 3 in this position, which means the marks will be on the inside only. You find them on the inside, you turn the band around, and that's how you hold it, while there's 1 and 4. As I said, they're a pair, they sit together. 2 and 5. And if you want to change the order of the pair, you do it by flipping one of them over, and doing so will mean that that one mark is no longer on the right hand side, but it's on the left hand side. You'll find that doing that will more often than not change, because now that 1 and 4 pair is underneath 2 and 5. Whereas it wasn't before. Let's flip it back. So there we've got 1 and 4. We need to make sure that 1 is on the right hand side of 4, and obviously it is. So the order of that pair is correct, so we just leave them while we focus on the other ones, the other pair. Now 2 is on the left of 5, and it's not supposed to be. So once again, to change the order within a pair, I take either band 2 or band 5 and flip over. Remember here 5 is on the right. After I flip it over, band 5 is now on the left, and that's where it needs to be. So there's band 2 on the right and band 1 on the right of that pair. Next, so the order within those pairs is correct, the next thing to be concerned with is the question, is the pair 1 and 4 sitting on top of 2 and 5, or is it underneath? If the answer, as in this case, the answer is bands 1 and 4 are on top of bands 2 and 5, you need to deal with that situation by flipping both members of the pair over, and that will turn this pair from being on top of 2 and 5 to being underneath 2 and 5, and underneath 2 and 5 is where they need to be. So we're now ready to proceed to the next stage, because 2 is on the right hand side of 5 and that pair is on top of bands 1 and 4, and band 1 is on the right hand side. So at this point in time we then forget about those intermediate pairs and we find there's your 6 marks on the inside. Make sure those marks are up the top, not down the bottom. Up the top, and you want to grab that band from behind, if you like, not grabbing it from the front. Grab it from behind, and we'll have left thumb and forefinger on those 3 marks, and essentially that band 3 is now held more or less horizontally. So what I want to do is push band 6 into band 3. It's only going to go a certain distance, and you've got to find exactly where to orient it. When it's in its correct position, you'll find that you can lock that pair in place with pressure, either with your right hand or with your left, and you'll know it's in the correct position because 3 will be directly opposite 6. And in this position we've now got the pair. We've got one pair that's basically facing side on to us. No, they're not side on, these are side on, facing directly towards and away from us. That's 2 and 5. This pair that we're looking at from the side, band 4 is automatically going to be in the front, and you want to spin, move wherever that's oriented, those 4 marks, which here you can see but on yours you won't be able to see. You need to make sure this is down the bottom, and that marked area is going to be brought up towards you, which pushes the other end of the ring kind of down away from you. And what you want to do, get my fingers out the way there, my thumb, there's band 3, those 3 marks. You want band 4, those 4 marks to sit alongside. So you Okay. Now, while I'm trying to push that in the right place, I need to make sure that band 1 is behaving itself, and it's not at the moment because it's getting in the way. You need to make sure that you get the point of band 4 above band 1. Band 1 drops down the bottom here. You can then push the 4 marks alongside the 3 marks, and the other end comes out at the back. Now we deal with band 1, and that 1 mark is going to appear right alongside the 6 marks, and so this point here is going to kind of come down, if you like, which means that gets pushed up at the back, and without getting everything out of place, we've now got those 4 bands where they're supposed to be. 1's next to 6, 3's next to 4, and so far I've been using thumb and forefinger to hold these 4. They're not, if you're holding it properly, firmly, they're not going to go anywhere. But I'm going to need that thumb and forefinger because I need to do some manipulation of band 2. Here will be on the right, and I need to be able to manipulate that and hold it in position. The way I'm holding here at the moment, I can't. So what I do is use my middle finger and the back of my ring finger, because then I can hold that, keep them together while I use thumb and forefinger, because band 2 comes up and I'm going to hold it where those marks are, and band 5, there's your marks, is going to come up, and you're going to push band 5 so that it passes, so that band 2 passes into band 5, should go on the outside of band 2, and if you push far enough you'll get those bands to actually pass through each other, which you don't want. So the challenge is to just get them in the right position so that 2 and 5 are opposite, and when they are more or less in the right position, which they're a bit out at the moment, okay, when you've got them in the right position, once again a bit of pressure is going to keep them locked in place. Now there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Obviously these 2 marks have to come down here, but this middle finger is in the way, so I need to get it out of the way enough that, and keep all those original 4 together. Then what I've got to do is basically push this combined pair 2 and 5, push the pair as a unit towards where you want it to go, and luckily this thing is really quite forgiving. You push and then you kind of jiggle a bit, and before you know it, it's together, and there you go.